name is Sri Ponalagan. Today I am going to explain about impact of globalization on eating habit in Malaysia. So globalization refers to the way in which developments in one region can rapidly come into a significant consequences for the security and well-being communities in quite distant regions of the globe. It is expansion and intensification of connections and movements of people, goods, capital, ideas and cultures between countries. It offers growth prospects on national economics.
There are several tenets of globalizations that play a role in influencing dietary patterns and resulting nutrition transitions in Malaysia. Due to the broad nature of globalization, I focus on two main areas, which are the urbanization and the growing foreign investment. So there are many perspectives and how components of these relationships are lies, and no simple answer for the force of globalization, such as urbanization and the foreign direct investment, have influenced in Malaysia that the way they do. Regardless, it is important to understand that these areas play a significant role in how population obtain, choose and consume foods in Malaysia. So first, for urbanization, it has become one of the most important influences on dietary patterns among Malaysians and also in mostly developing countries. So with more population entering into the workforce, there has been significant shift in dietary patterns for several reasons. First, there's less ability, time and desire to cook and prepare food at home. So uh, the lack of land farming along with decreased time spent at home also causes families to increasingly need food or want to eat outside, not following the traditional way of cooking food at home and eating together with family. Second one, a foreign direct investment developing. It also impacts in developing countries such as Malaysia and many more. It has a significant impact on changes seen in dietary patterns. Initially, entry into markets focuses on packaged and highly processed food that are marketed as exotic and convenient and modern. Such investment has become so successful that processing now has highest amount of foreign direct investment compared to the other part of the food system. The most astonishing is the fact that foreign direct investment in the global processed food market is important than the foreign direct investment in the global trade. So for the next point, I'll let my teammate to explain.
My name is Lakshmi and I would like to continue with the second effect, which is transnational corporations and their harmful effects on food security and food sovereignty. In this part, I'm going to discuss on how transnational food corporations or big food have harmful effects on the food security and food sovereignty of populations. One of the most harmful effects on food security and food sovereignty as a result of practices of transnational corporations is the undermining of small farmers and other local food producers. According to IFAD, here are about 500 million small farms in developing countries, which support about 2 million people, more than one third of the world's population. Yet most of these small farmers and their families live on the less than $2 a day, as they are unable to keep up with increased demand, higher costs, and changing market developments. It is important to ask, why do some small farmers struggle to stay afloat when the globalization of ideas, technologies, and new markets should make it easier to produce and distribute food? The answer often has to do with the practices and concentration of powerful transnational corporations who control various food markets. Additionally, much of this control is concentrated within a few companies rather than millions of smallholders. Globalization affects this kind of market power in three ways. First, foreign companies become competitors with the domestic producers by supplying food products to the domestic market. Second, This puts pressure on the domestic producers, including small farmers, to lower their prices and increase their standards. Lastly, if domestic producers cannot lower their costs and increase standards without going bankrupt, they are forced to leave the market. This process is exactly what allows transnational corporations to dominate domestic industries and put small producers out of business. Thank you.
Following on, the next impact of globalization on eating habit in Malaysia is the spread processed nutrition, poor food. Essentially, these changes encompass part of what is called the global nutrition transition. Along with the decreased physical activity, new technologies and jobs that promote a more sedentary lifestyle, changes in diet, including what we consume and how often, which majorly affect global health. The global nutrition transition specifically changes concerning diet, which is an important concept to know because it allows us to better understand the current state of global security and nutrition. The changes in the global food system, along with changes in global diets, did not happen simply or all at once. The emergence of global food system rather than a focus on state food system is complex and is influenced by hundreds of years of gradual shifts in government, investment, trade, infrastructure, urbanization, culture, and many more. One of the major shifts in production system has been making calories from major agriculture crops like corn, rice, and wheat cheaply available to both high income and low middle income countries. Additionally, these changes lead to the manufacturing of cheap livestock feed and low input cost of processed food. Now the food system involved multiple international actors whose goals are to maximize efficiency, reduce costs, increase production, and attract consumers. Talking about nutrition poor food, traditional diets, particularly in developing countries, used to be rich in whole coarse grains like millet and barley, with high source of dietary fiber and plants, including vegetables and fruits. The modern diet has moved to include refined grains, carbohydrates, animal products, unhealthy fats, hydrogenated oils, and added sugar and salt. With incorporation of such components into our diet, there is marked decrease in whole grain, fruit, vegetable, legume, fish, and nut consumptions. Fundamentally, our diet is becoming sweeter and more energy dense. So the conclusion is globalization has its plus point in attempting to coverage nations into a global village in as is equally responsible to creating further divide among the nations. So coordination between agriculture, education, health and nutrition is essential to provide a favorable environment and appropriate messages for maintaining and recreating healthy food cultures. Efforts must be made to build alternate measures and to extend the preserve the local cuisine and cultures to the aim of reviving indigenous foods. Thank you.